yummy pumpkin spice cinnamon rolls. So come on in and join me. First, you're gonna need some preheated milk, and I have about 1 cup here. And you don't want it too hot because then it's just gonna kill your yeast, and then you won't have a little rise on your cinnamon rolls. To that, I'm gonna take 1 tablespoon of yeast. I know they have the packages as well. You could use whatever you like, but I usually buy the yeast in bulk. And then I'm also gonna put 1 tablespoon of sugar. And the tablespoon of sugar is just to get that yeast activated. And then I'm gonna mix it up. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna wait about 5 minutes until on top the yeast is gonna be foamy. And once it's foamy, I'm gonna go ahead and show you it. If it doesn't foam up, that means your yeast is not activated. So you're probably gonna wanna try to start it again, but I'll show you that how it's supposed to look when I come back. Okay, now that our yeast is foamed up like this, that means your yeast is good. I'm gonna take about 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter, softened butter, and then remember it has to be softened butter because otherwise it's not going to work well with hard butter. You're going to have a very difficult time because you have to add this to the mixture. That's 2. And that is 3. Sorry, I'm making a mess right here. And I'm going to do about 3.5 tablespoons of butter. Then once you have your butter in there, you're just going to want to give it a quick mix because your water is still going to be warm, but we know that your yeast is activated. So that's good because in turn it's going to sort of melt that butter as well because it's softened. Then in your mixing bowl, if you don't have a stand mixer, you can still knead it with your hands, but it's just going to be a little more time consuming for you. I have my grandmother or my Nana's KitchenAid that she used to bake a lot with, and it's been passed down to me, so now I use it. Thank God for it. I'm going to add 1 cup of flour, regular white flour, and I'm also going to add 1 cup of whole wheat flour to that mixture. I'm also going to take another 1/3 cup of sugar to your dough because that's going to give it a sweetness to it. And you can always, adjust it to your preference, like I said, in the sweetness, but I've always felt this worked for me the best and tasted not so sweet, but it was good. So then I'm taking 1/3 cup of sugar and a teaspoon of salt. Once I get that, I'm gonna put my little protector on and I'm gonna mix it. Then I'm just gonna add my mixture with the butter and the yeast and milk slowly to the dough. And depending on your weather, you might need to add more flour or adjust it. Depends on what kind of climate you're in. If you feel like your dough's a little too wet still, go ahead and add a little more flour. It's not going to harm your mixture. What that does is it's just going to make it a little bit to the consistency that you want it at. Okay, now actually I had to add another cup because I said it depends on the weather. So this is the consistency you're going to kind of want it. It's not, you know, too runny, but it's also not dry. So you want it kind of sticky. So now I'm going to knead it for about 5 minutes. Okay, now the dough has been kneading for about 5 minutes now. And what you're going to do is you can leave it in the bowl. You don't have to use another bowl. But you're just going to want to like roll it a little, tuck it under. And then just place it back in the bowl. You can put some oil in there just so it won't stick to the side, and kind of rub it around with the ball of dough. Place it in there, and you're going to want to cover it and keep it in somewhere warm for about 30 minutes just to rise a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it with a dish towel, and then I'm going to put it in my microwave. That's the best place that it ends up rising because the air doesn't get in there. Okay, so now for the filling, that once our dough is done, we're going to go ahead and put this filling on top of it, but I'll show you that later. But while the dough is rising, you can always make this filling ahead of time and keep it in the refrigerator or whatever you want to do. But that way it's easier because you have it done. So now I'm putting about, these are 2 8-ounce cans of pure pumpkin. Again, it's not the pumpkin pie mixture, it's the pure pumpkin. Now, this, you don't have to put all of it in. It's as much as you want to. So I'll show you that when I roll out the dough. But I'm making the filling anyways. More is always better than not having enough. And to that, I'm going to take pecans that I already smashed up, and I'm going to add some to the pumpkin, along with about a teaspoon of vanilla. And to that, I'm going to take some brown sugar. Well, that just plopped out of there. And then some cinnamon to that. Now, this is all for taste. You can add as much or as little as you want to, or you don't even have to add the pecans. Again, it's what you like to do and what you like to taste, but I say the more spices you have in here, the better. So that was about 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar, along with all your spices. That's why they're called pumpkin spice cinnamon rolls. That's where you get the name from. There's all the spices. But I promise you it's gonna be yummy, especially if you like pumpkin and if you like cinnamon rolls. This is something that you can make on the weekends for your family, or, you know, before school. For the kids, you can prep it the night before and just bake them in the morning so they can have something hot. And I'm also going to take a little pat of butter to that. Instead of rubbing the butter all over the cinnamon roll, I'm going to just add it to the mixture. And again, the importance of tasting. You're always going to want to taste your food. This is something that I think not very many people do. They just go off of recipes and recipes, but it's always going to be to your taste, what you like. Everybody likes different things, so just make it your own. Make it fun. So I'm going to taste a little bit. And you can adjust the sweetness or whatever you like. Actually, I'm going to add a little more brown sugar to it. So preferably about a half a cup you're going to end up adding to it. But again, if you don't want it, just go ahead and change it. Okay, so the mixture is almost done. Okay, now I'm also going to add half a teaspoon of salt. And what that's going to do is that's just going to bring out your sweetness and the sweet and savory part of your dish. And then, like I said, you're just going to go ahead after you mix everything up and set it aside. You can keep it in your refrigerator or on your counter. It won't go bad, but just go ahead and do that till we get the dough ready and mixed up for you. Now you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350, and that way when you're rolling your dough out, your oven will be preheating. Alright, now it's been rising in the microwave for about a half hour, and here it is right here. You don't want to, it's not bread, like bread where you want it to rise a lot. That's why we only had it in the microwave for a half hour. Now I'm going to put it on a dusted flour surface. I have tile on my countertop, so that's why I'm laying down these silicone mats. I love them. If you ever have a chance to get some, you should, especially if you bake. And you're just gonna roll it till it's like a long rectangle. Now you're going to take your mixture that you made earlier and you're just going to place it on here and spread it along evenly. You want to make sure that your area is coated, except for not too close to the edge, because then you don't want it squirting out everywhere. Just make cooking fun and exciting. Get your kids involved and just have a good time. Because I knew I grew up with my mom and dad always cooking, and I love being in the kitchen. My mom always had me doing like all the sweets or cookies for Christmas. She would have me doing those, and that's where I learned to love to be in the kitchen. Okay, now once you have as much as you need on your dough part, you're going to take the end and you're just going to kind of just tuck and roll it from end to end. Once you come to the end of your cinnamon roll right here, you're going to want to pinch it with your fingers. That way all of your goodness that you put in there, all that yumminess in there is not going to be squirting out. It doesn't have to be perfect. See, there's some coming out of mine. Life isn't perfect. You have imperfections, just fix it. Now I'm gonna cut the two ends off. You can still cook them. They're gonna be smaller, see? And then you're just gonna wanna cut them about an inch thick. And on the side here, while I'm cutting these, I already had pre-greased baking pan. I'm using a glass baking pan. Alrighty, now it's been about an hour and that they are rising. So now we're gonna put them in the oven. And while it's gonna be in there for about 12 to 15 minutes, so just keep an eye on that. Now that we have our cinnamon rolls in the oven, I'm gonna make the frosting for it. Now this is optional, but I wouldn't advise leaving this out because it's really yummy. You're gonna take 1 package of cream cheese. Then I'm gonna take a half a cup. Actually, what I'm gonna do is put the mixer on first. And you want it at room temperature, the cream cheese. While that's mixing, I'm gonna pour a half a cup of powdered sugar with a little bit of milk. Again, I'm going to pour a little bit of the rest of the half a cup of powdered sugar and a bit of milk. You're also going to add 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar as well. And that's going to be for your sweetener. To that, I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice mixture and a half a teaspoon of vanilla. Ooh, I went a little over the half a teaspoon, but it's okay. It's all good. Once you have it well incorporated, it's going to come out like this, the consistency. Now, if you want it thinner, you just add more milk, but if you want it thicker, don't add as much milk, but you're always going to want to taste your product. It's good. Okay, once your frosting's done, go ahead and put it in a container and refrigerate until your cinnamon rolls come out of the oven, nice and hot and ready. Okay, now they should be done. See the little brown on the top? Little crisp edges. And this is the time you're going to want to put your frosting on it. So go ahead and we're going to take our frosting out of the refrigerator. Okay, now that we have one out, we're going to frost it and start to put the frosting on it. Hey babe, come over here. I need you to be my taste tester since you love pumpkin pie. I'm going to try that out for me. Tell me what you think.
Blazing hot.
Tell people what you think.
That's a bomb.com.
Bomb.com.
And go perfect with my coffee.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Lauralee's Classic Kitchen for more of these recipes. See you soon.